Welcome to Redbeard Radio. I'm Brian Keith, and today we have Lisa Catto. She's based out of London, and we are talking about the ideal customer journey. Now, for those of you who have been listening for quite a while, you know the episode number 1 with Greg Jenkins was also about the customer journey and the way Greg looks at it. In this episode, you're going to hear another way of looking at it and how Lisa deploys that across her whole team, and you're going to walk away from this episode with a better understanding of how to deploy the ideal customer journey in your business and how maybe Lisa's business can help you get there. Lisa, welcome to Redbeard Radio.
Well, hey, hello from across the pond.
I love London. I've not been there too long. I once got to see The Lion King in London, and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was in nosebleed seats because I was a student at the time, but
they're the best up in the gods, the nosebleed seats.
And they are when you're watching a huge thing like The Lion King. It really is superior to get to see the whole thing. That's a different story. Before we dive into the ideal customer journey, I just want to look at one thing in your bio here. You said that you once purchased a roller rink in London. And when most people think, oh, marketing automation specialist, they don't think a person who bought a roller rink. So can you just give us the real quick, what's the story there?
I was 19 and it was 1990-ish. I was a raver back in the day and I enjoyed parties, and we were putting on raves in clubs, and we discovered this roller rink, which was ideal, right? Because it had the DJ booth right in the middle, and then the roller rink itself was, like the dance floor, and it already had a cafeteria and a licensed bar. And they wouldn't let us rent it. They said, look, you can't rent it to do a party here, but you can purchase it. So we did. So I bought the roller rink. We ran it as a roller skating rink during the week and on weekends during the day. And then come Friday, 6:00, we would convert it into a dance venue for 3,000 people. We had a 6 a.m. license. I was the youngest alcohol licensee in the country at 19. And at times we had up to 10,000 people in there, raving the night away. So that was my introduction to being an entrepreneur at 19.
That's incredible. And it really brings to heart that you've been working on how do you take people through a journey for a long time, since 1990? And how do you get people to keep on coming back and keep on doing the thing, whether the thing is raving or some of your current work? So tell us now, what are you focusing on now in your work?
Well, I'm very passionate about the customer journey. For me, the customer journey is the blueprint for any business. So whether you are an info business, an e-commerce business, a bricks and mortar, you're a coach, consultant, or professional services, you have a customer and they have to have a journey. And if you don't know what their journey is, neither do they. And you can build such amazing customer loyalty and faith and fantastic experience when you know what's coming next for them or the different routes that they can take in your business. So for me, the customer journey starts by knowing who your customer is, and you might have more than one type of customer because you might have more than one type of product or service. But knowing who this journey serves, how you're going to hook in their interest, how you're going to capture their details, and then educate, indoctrinate, and nurture them into being able to make an offer, close a sale. But then also the experience of when they become a customer, of being able to onboard them. What's that journey like? And how automated and how nice and pleasant can you make that, not just for the customer, because the customer journey is just as important for the people working inside the business as well, the people serving the customer. And then getting those customers to become raving fans so that they're referring you on, they're leaving testimonials, and they're telling the world how fantastic you are and why people should be working with you.
Lisa, you're reminding me of my mountain climbing class that I went to with the mountaineers, where people start off from many different backgrounds and they say, okay, there's this class, you're going to pay some money, and we're going to tell you exactly what you're going to do. Here's your field trip day, here's your lecture day, here's the topics of each thing. And then to actually graduate the class, you have to do all these requirements, all this classwork over here, this medical class. You have to go on these 4 climbs. The 4 climbs have to look like this. After you graduate, here's what's going to happen. And then you're going to become an instructor, of course, because it's a volunteer group. As an instructor, here's your journey as an instructor. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. Once you've done this, now you're qualified to do this third thing over here. And so everywhere along the way, you have a pretty good idea of where you're at, what just happened, and what's happening next. And so it's really good for getting many of the students to return as instructors, which is critical for a volunteer organization, right?
You're creating a safe space. When people have an expectation, whether it's a member of staff or a contractor or whether it's a customer that you're serving, when they feel safe in that experience and they know that you know what's coming next, it feels good. It feels safe. People like certainty.
Now, that's really interesting. We could say that you're delivering certainty. And you mentioned not just to the customer, but also to your team that delivers the services
Yeah.
that your company does. Now, that's really interesting. When you look inside a new client or new prospect and you look at this, are you delivering certainty throughout this process? What are some of the big problems that show up most often?
Oh, massively. We have culture issues that we work with businesses on because we don't just do the automation. We do a lot of coaching and consulting because what is uncovered and revealed when we do the customer journey is the lack of whether it be like a known sales process or the visibility. I worked with a web company once who had a remote team, and there was a lot of backwards and forwards, and they felt there was a lot of time wasted because there was no visibility for the team of what was happening before or what they were serving that was coming after. They were never client facing. And once we gave visibility of the whole client journey and the process involved, these guys doubled their business, their turnover and net profit within 3 months of giving visibility to the team of the customer journey. So a lot of it comes down to company culture and people feeling that the powers that be or the executives or the leadership people are invested in the well-being of the people in the company that are delivering their product. So look, that culture issue, that culture piece around people knowing where they sit in a business, how they impact the bigger picture, how they can impact the clients, how they can impact the growth of the business and who they should go to and when and what the rules of play are and the unspoken rules of play of what's acceptable and what's not and who we are as a family in the business is, for me, essential for the long-term success and sustainability of any business.
Hey, Lisa, I want to read your book. Have you written it yet?
It's been in process. It's called From Ideas to Reality, and I haven't got to it in full yet. It's on my roadmap for planning in Q4 of this year for release in Q2, Q3 next year.
That's wonderful because I want to read a book that talks about two things you mentioned, certainty and loyalty. You didn't say loyalty out loud, I don't think, but you described it. This idea that you're creating staffers on your team that are loyal to a process because they have visibility. So they have accountability and this transparency.
Yeah.
And then you're also creating loyal customers because they have visibility into your process.
Yeah, part of the process here, though, is also knowing what your culture is and what your values are, and whether it be client or whether it be a team member, because some of these in this day and age, we have a lot of remote team members and a lot of subcontractors that we work with, but it's making sure that they are a good fit. And without culture, we don't know if they're a good fit. And if you've got a poor fit, then that can have a massive ripple effect on the delivery of the product and the whole team.
Yeah. I'm thinking about a client of mine where we do online classes and we'll go to an institution and the institution will send, let's say, 30 of their people to the class. And it used to be we had it so that the individual people could go in and look at how they were performing. And then we changed it up so that now the actual client, the boss or the manager can go see what's the exact process throughout this 8-week class or this 4-week class. And what exact of the modules have each individual person taken. And so we increase this level of visibility dramatically inside the team. So now the boss just knows. And once they know, are you taking this training that I'm paying for that's critical to do your job well? And just that little bit of visibility.
That little bit is absolutely essential. But as a member of the staff, understanding why it's critical, why it fits into the bigger picture, what the outcomes are. I mean, again, this is just internal marketing. You think about any marketing that you do for your business, you are selling the outcomes of the product, right? You're telling people what the benefits and the outcomes are of working with you. And that is the same when you're working with team members and you want them to do stuff like training and courses in-house, which is the outcome of this is you will understand where you fit in, or you will understand and have a smoother journey in the processes that you are completing. And having those, you mentioned there, the managers having their scorecards. You know, we put a lot of rhythm meetings into businesses as well whether they have weekly leadership meetings or monthly team meetings, whatever it may be that is relevant for that company, so that everybody's on message and has their markers. What gets measured gets done. That's not one of my quotes. But if you don't have KPIs in place and you can't see how somebody is progressing, then you may as well just kind of kick them to the curb and not care about them, because everybody wants to move forward in their lives. Everyone wants to have a sense of success. And if you're not measuring that, then you're not doing them justice if they are working with you.
You're talking about both clients, but also staff. You remind me of a client where the weekly meetings were the CEO asking people, how's this going? How's that going? And then by the time I was done revitalizing how they operated, it was someone else on the team was running the meeting, and each staff person came to the meeting and they knew what their 2 or 3 things they were going to report on were, their 2 or 3 metrics each week. And they asked for a question about if they needed help on something. And then the CEO got to attend the meeting, right, instead of running it, because there was a process and they followed the same process every time. And the power of adding a process, having a culture of that accountability, it's just huge. Now tell me, what size of companies, if they like what they're hearing here, what size of companies do you tend to work with?
We tend to work with companies that are doing a minimum of, do I need to convert to dollars?
No, you don't. You can do pounds. Redbeard Radio listeners are erudite, cosmopolitan people.
International citizens.
Yes.
We work with companies that are normally doing a minimum of £200,000 a year in revenue.
Brilliant.
We find that this is the type of business that is willing to invest in what's required to automate and systemize the business. We don't work with startups because we don't feel that they are grounded enough or have enough experience in their own business to be able to get the success that they need when they come to us. Often companies that have hit a plateau, some go, we don't know how we got here, but we got here. Or we know we're a tangled mess of systemized chaos. And, we put in centralization of data and we help streamline all of their systems and processes and often help them document their systems and processes as well.
That's a huge one.
That is a huge one.
Some of the work I do is as a fractional chief operating officer. And one of the consistent challenges is not just not enough processes are documented, but that when it comes time to document anything, it's, well, are you going to document that to go actually wrap it up? Or are you going to do the next thing that might generate more cash flow or stop the company from losing cash because something's broken?
Yeah.
And it's this constant struggle.
I mean, there's a couple of pieces of software out there now that are really good at documenting processes, Trainial and Air Manual, which is about to be released from a company called Spider Gap, who are all about feedback from employees, because we all know that without our employees, we don't have a business. So it's also an essential tool. But I work on a principle when I'm coaching my clients, we work on a principle of high impact and high income tasks. Is that at any given time, you need to be looking at whether you're working on a high impact or a high income task and what is the priority. And to make sure, those systems and processes is what is future proofing your business.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just back to the drawing board every single time and stuff's taking longer and you're losing money as a result of not having your documentation in place.
One of my favorite questions to ask prospects for really my fractional COO part of my business is, how many hours are you currently working a week? And how many hours do you want to be working a week?
Yes.
And almost always there is a 10 to 30 hour difference between those two numbers. So I can always say, okay, so if we're going to get you from, let's say, 80 down to 50 hours a week, the only way we can do that is to get things off your plate. There's no possible way, if that's how it's been for 6 months, 3 years, however long.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is to get systems in place, documented, and put off to someone else.
And we always look there when the tasks that they procrastinate most on. So I make business owners spend a week jotting down the tasks that they're doing at any given time, from whether it's posting invoices or chasing money through to client facing and their own in-house marketing, whatever it might be. And then we draw a line and it's okay. This is an activity called Delegate to Elevate from Gino Wickman's book, Traction.
Love it.
Which every business should read.
Yeah.
So the Delegate to Elevate exercise is basically everything above the line is what you're good or great at and you love and like doing. And everything below the line is you might be good at it, but don't like it. But you could also be really bad at it and don't like it, but you're still doing it. And so starting with those tasks, either with automation or delegation, is where we always hit the road running, because when we implement a customer journey, we always map it out. We have 9 stages of the customer life cycle. We always start with mapping out, what are you already doing? What are you not doing that you could be doing? Where are the gaps? Where are the opportunities that you're missing? And where is the immediate priority? Where are you going to get the most ROI on either your time or being able to increase sales? And that's where we start. And the delegate to elevate exercise, winning that time back for people, whether even if it's the guys lower down in the hierarchy, winning them time back so they can have more job satisfaction and they can get more productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we do there as well is we build out talent maps. Is we get everyone in the company to write out their own talent map to see if what they think they should be doing versus what the leadership think they should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing if that is actually in alignment or not. Because also businesses evolve. We've just taken on a Keep client who's been a Keep business owner for the last 10 years. But where they started 10 years ago when they onboarded with automation and where they are now is 2 very different landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that does need to be reviewed frequently in everything in your business, because you're growing all the time. And today is not who you were yesterday.
That's so true. And you may have done a perfect job of communicating the company priorities in the past to the team. And that may be old news. I've come across times where a staffer was very diligently deploying what the priorities of the company were 2 years ago. And when we talked to them, me and the CEO, we talked to the staffer about, well, why did you do it this way instead of that way? And they explain like, oh, well, yeah, that was exactly right 2 years ago. But the CEO changed course or market conditions changed, something changed. And then the staffer never got an update about, hey, this is more important now than doing that over there.
Yeah. And that's why the rhythm meetings for the staff are so important. The visibility on how the company's doing, what the direction is now, what the priorities are, how you've evolved. Because the people that work for a business, they also want to be proud of the business they're working for and know that what they're doing is having a positive impact.
Yeah. Positive impact. Positive impact, loyalty, certainty, and building a journey that your staffers and your clients are going to love. So I did the calculations for all of our less international people out there. It's about 20,000 US a month. If you're making 20,000 US a month or more, then you can contact your team, Lisa, to go and learn more. And let's real quick go through your system that you have there on your website, thebusinesscatalyst.co.uk. So step 1, audit. Step 2, make the plan. Step 3, do the plan. Step 4, train you in how to maintain the plan. Of all those, the first 3 are pretty clear. The 4th one, I think, bears a bit of our attention. What does it mean when you say you train your clients in how to maintain the plan that you've deployed for them?
It's putting into place these systems and processes and the documentation and showing them how to use it. So whether it's the rhythm meetings, whether it's putting in reporting and dashboards for them and helping them make sure with reminders and documentation that they take their business to the next level. Automation is just one of the pieces of what we do to help businesses grow, of help them save time and get organized and grow their sales. But the overall arching structure of the business of making sure that they are measuring their numbers, which numbers to measure, and training them. Sometimes we put in new accounting systems for people and we're training them how to read their balance sheets and their profit and loss and their cash flows. And it's like, well, what's the target? What do you need? Do you need $10,000 a month, monthly recurring revenue, in order to create the breathing space so that you can work more strategically on your business or have more free time to go play golf, whatever it might be?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't even have these basic targets in place. So we're training them to be the business owners they need to be in order to have the lifestyle of their dreams.
That sounds fantastic. Folks, you don't need to be a roller rink owner who goes to raves to know that all these things would be great if they existed in your business. Lisa, which social media are you most active on?
Oh, well, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook the most. I suppose Facebook would be, the Business Catalyst on Facebook, or LinkedIn would be the place to find me best.
Brilliant. And then the website, folks, thebusinesscatalyst.co.uk. Lisa, thank you so much for being on Redbeard Radio.
My pleasure. Thank you.